Hey everybody, I'm in my backyard now. So we had two games today at the European Championship, wrapping up Group F, and now all 24 teams in this tournament have taken to the field. We've seen all teams play. Today we've had two shock results: Iceland stealing a point against Portugal, and Hungary shocking Austria 2-0. Austria clearly is a better team than Hungary, but they basically pulled a Belgium from yesterday. You look at this Austrian team that's so loaded with talent. They they finished with 28 points out of 30 in their qualifying group for the Euros. Only England had a better record with 10 wins out of 10. And this was a game that Austria really had no excuse not winning. You look at Hungary. Some of their players play in the MLS here in the United States, like Christian Nemeth, and they just man for man don't match up with Austria. But the reason why they pull up the victory was they were very patient on the ball. They played very defensive minded. They didn't allow Austria to get settled in and comfortable and play their own brand of football. And when their chances came on the counterattack, they took them and they scored through Zalai and Stieber. So in the first half, it was all Austria. David Alaba had a great chance in the first 30 seconds. He struck the post. But that wasn't just all. They had several good chances in the first half to take the lead, but they didn't. And what happens is when you have so many chances to take the lead and you don't take them, oftentimes another team's going to figure you out and punish you. So this is exactly what happened. I still believe Hungary is the worst team in this group, but it doesn't matter who's the better team. It only matters who's the better team on the day during those 90 minutes. And in the second half, Hungary proved to be the superior side. And it's a shock result for Austria because many people had them as a dark horse in this tournament. I had them as one of my dark horses. I had them going out in the quarterfinals. But now with games ahead against Iceland and Portugal, both who are better than Hungary, Austria could finish bottom of this group and just crash out of the tournament. So, congratulations to the magical Magyars, and I think that looking forward and going to all these games later, Austria is going to struggle to get a single point because their next game is against Portugal, and they're going to be ripe for the picking. Against the Portuguese side that is a favorite to go far in this tournament. And speaking of the Portuguese team, they gave up a point today against Iceland, but to be honest, there's no shame in that. This was not so much surprising as the earlier game was, and the reason for that is Iceland had a spectacular qualifying campaign. They eliminated Holland from entering the European Championship. They beat other big-name teams in their group, like the Czech Republic, who always qualify for the European Championship, and a very promising Turkish side, and they came close to topping their group. And Iceland now, for the last decade, have really been building up their youth program, and have, I think, over 600 coaches in the country that have done a good job of strengthening their national side by really installing a grassroots, sort of grassroots building from the bottom up of their domestic league back home in their country. And this has been in the making now for the last 10 or so years. And Iceland right now are a second-tier European team. They can compete with anybody. But prior to the early 2000s, they were minnows just like San Marino and Faroe Islands and Andorra. But this Icelandic team now is a force to be reckoned with, and if they can get a point off of Portugal, they can get 6 points off Austria and Hungary. So if Iceland plays to their full potential, they can get out of this group with 7 points. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. But, this is very important for them moving forward because now that the hardest game is out of the way against the Portuguese, they can focus on Austria next. Austria right now is in disarray. They've lost one of their main men, Dragatovic, to a red card. He won't be playing in the next game. Arnautovic and Okoti and the whole entire midfield today just looked like a mess because Hungary figured them out. And they need to regroup and put in a good performance, at least pick up a point. At least pick up a point against Portugal, because what could happen is Austria could finish their first 2 games with 0 points. And in fact, I think that might just happen, because I don't know if Portugal's going to drop more points again for a second match in a row. They usually don't do that in European Championships. Remember, I mentioned before in a previous video, Portugal is one of the more consistent teams in the European Championship. So it's not a huge surprise that Portugal was forced to a draw with Iceland, because if you look at Portugal's performance in major tournaments, they tend to start off slow. They lost their opening match to Germany at the World Cup in 2014. They lost to Germany in their opening match of the European Championship in 2012. And they tied their opening game of the 2010 World Cup against Ivory Coast. They usually don't win their opening games, but they usually always win their second game. And their second game is against Austria. And if Austria plays like they did today against Portugal, they'll get smacked. They'll get smacked 3 or 4-0. So right now, for the time being, Hungary's at top of the group with 3 points. I don't expect that to stay, although with these 3 points, they might just have enough to advance as one of the best third-place teams in this group. Who knows? Usually 3 points is not a safe bet, but 4 points to advance as one of the best 16 teams out of 24 is usually you're pretty much set. You're pretty much safe to advance with 4 points out of 9. So that's really it for my thoughts on these 2 games. I mean, there's really not much to comment on. So tomorrow we're going to go back to Group A, and we're going back to France. France will play against Albania, and Switzerland will play against Romania. And the Swiss-Romania game will be absolutely pivotal, crucial in determining who comes in second in this group and advances along with the French, assuming the French do advance, which they should since they're the best team in the group, and they're playing on home soil. But I don't think Albania is going to make it easy work for them. Albania showed a lot of promise in their opening game against the Swiss, and just like Romania frustrated France, I don't think it's going to be all Yankee Doodle Dandy, walk in, just leave with 3 points for the French, as some people might think, although I do expect them to beat Albania. And then there's also one more game, I think. It's in Group B with Wales against, Slovakia against Russia. So we have 3 games tomorrow. And Russia's in a dangerous spot here because UEFA has been fining them and threatening them with disqualification if their fans continue with their hooliganism and inciting violence in stadiums and outsides, both before and after the games. So if this continues into the Slovakia match, you could see Russia disqualified, and it would put the group wide open into big air, because Slovakia would probably be awarded an automatic 3 points. The game against Wales would be forfeited. That's another 3 points for Wales. And you could see all 3 of England, Slovakia, and Wales advance because the organization decides to award them an automatic 3-0 win if Russia forfeits. And so I hope the Russian fans don't ruin it for their team. You know, it's a bad image not only for the team, but it's bad for the sport of football. And that we don't need that in these kind of tournaments. It ruins it for all of us. It ruins it for the fans. It ruins it for the neutral fans as well. So I hope tomorrow's match between Russia and Slovakia goes about smoothly, with no interferences, no fan violence, that doesn't result in any disqualification of any side, because it would be a damn shame to the sport if that does happen. So, okay, so looking forward today. Some water. Looking forward today for tonight, the Copa America. We, like I mentioned in my last video earlier today, we have the last 2 games of the group stage. Argentina should beat Bolivia tonight. It doesn't matter if they're resting Messi. If they could beat Chile when they're resting Messi, they can rest pretty much their entire A team and still beat Bolivia. They should beat Bolivia. They should get 3 points. They should top this group with 9 points. I think they will, unless they just totally don't give a fuck at all about the game. I think they'll win tonight. Bolivia will finish with 0 points in this group. They're already eliminated. And for CONCACAF, I really want Panama to pull off the surprise. I really want Panama to to stun Chile, to get to the quarterfinals, to play Mexico, because it would look good for the image of CONCACAF. But I don't know if it's going to happen. They are playing with a red card to one of their best defenders, Felipe Baloy. Blas Perez is sitting out too because he picked up a second yellow card in their last game against Argentina. And even a draw is not going to be enough because of superior goal differential. Losing to Argentina 5-0 really hurt them. So, I think that they have to beat Chile in order to advance. Something tells me that Chile is going to do just enough to get through the next round. I actually think this game is going to be a draw. I think this game is going to be a draw between Panama and Chile will get through to the next round. But who knows? If Panama shows up with heart and puts in a great effort like Venezuela did in their Copa America campaign, maybe they can pull off an upset and give CONCACAF a third spot in the quarterfinals. That's not just USA. That's not just Mexico. So I believe they can do it, but I'm going to give the edge to Chile here. So my predictions, I think Argentina will beat Bolivia, and I think Panama and Chile will tie each other. Argentina will top the group with 9 points. Chile will have 4. Panama will have 4. Bolivia will have 0, but Chile advances on superior goal difference. One of my commentators said that I didn't respond to Ecuador versus Haiti yesterday. That's right, I didn't respond to it. But there really isn't much to say about it. I mean, we knew Ecuador was going to beat Haiti. We knew that they were going to beat them by at least a few goals. If they were going to beat them by 6 goals or more, they would have won the group. But if they had won the group, they would have played Colombia in the quarterfinals instead of the United States. And I love my American team, but would I rather play against the U.S. if I'm Ecuador, or would I rather play against Colombia? I'd rather play against the U.S., even if it's on home soil. So Ecuador beating Haiti was just all about taking care of business. They had to get the win to advance because they were only on 2 points prior to last night. And they beat them emphatically 4-0. Haiti hit the crossbar once or twice, so they had a chance to get a second goal this tournament. It's unfortunate that they didn't, but I will say that Ecuador looked very dangerous on the wings. They look very dangerous in the counterattack, and the United States has to be careful against Ener Valencia and Jaime Iovine on the counter because those boys have a lot of speed, and not having DeAndre Yedlin in our back line means we're not going to have our absolute best defense. So we need to be careful on the wings later this week in Seattle when we take on La Tri. So that's it for my thoughts on today's European Cup games and tonight's Copa America games coming ahead. And I'll see you tomorrow when I make my reaction videos to tonight's games, as well as reaction videos to tomorrow's European games. We only had 2 games today at the Euros, but tomorrow it's back to the 3 format. We're going to have 2 matches from Group A and then 1 from Group B. So guys, let me know in the comment section below, what do you think is going to happen tonight? What did you think of the 2 Euro games we had earlier today? And yeah, just give me feedback. And as always, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good evening. Peace out.